Welcome back, all my jiu-jitsu friends. I'm sparing everybody by not releasing another video featuring just me. Today, instead, I have Katie, a purple belt, versus Daniel, a black belt. Let's see how they do. Danny starts the roll off fast by immediately having lapel control and then works in towards shin guard. He's using the shin guard to try and reach Katie's other leg, but she spaces out. Because of this, Danny's going to work up and instead he's looking for a single leg. Katie's not responding too well with the sprawl here, so Danny simply walks around her and forces her down. He's already in side control, but Katie does re-guard for a second. Danny keeps his head on the outside, however, because he doesn't want to get guillotined, and Katie's on her hip, so she's not going to force the guillotine, even if she wanted to. Danny gets his arm around her shoulder, and he works right back into side control. Katie understands that if she ever wants to be in a video again, she'll have to move. She creates some frames and starts to bridge to create some distance, and then she rolls out from under Danny, making it a nice side control escape. Danny re-engages and pulls her into a guard, and he's starting to set up his own De La Riva guard. Danny understands that in De La Riva guard, it's really important that you create a lot of distance from your opponent. If they start to crowd you, they're going to pass that guard easily. Katie makes a big mistake, however, because she's starting to backstep here. Danny immediately catches this, grabs her belt, and then flips her to her butt so he can have a nice back take. From here, he starts to go over because Katie shoved the arm through and he's looking maybe for a Kimura or an armbar. Katie is doing a nice job trying to spin into Danny so she can escape this back control. He has pretty good hooks right here, but Katie is able to get all the way through and then is starting to work towards Danny's guard. We just had a nice sequence, now get ready for another one. Danny puts an instep in and he's looking for a butterfly sweep. Once he kicks Katie out, however, she gets a single leg and she starts to work on it, trying to go for a takedown. She doesn't commit enough though, and she goes for a deep waist, which gives Danny an opportunity to go for a whizzer. Katie attempts to free her arm for this whizzer, but instead this gives Danny the opportunity to bail and go back into his guard. Katie grabs Danny's left lapel and uses this to create a knee cut pass situation immediately. However, she doesn't free her hand and wrist, and Danny's able to control her and puts her right on her butt so he can stand up and start sitting into her guard, officially giving him a sweep because Katie couldn't control her own base. Once Danny's on top, he attempts to push Katie's leg down to pass her guard. Katie does a nice job, however, grabbing Danny's ankle. I don't necessarily agree with this next choice because she decides to put them in a very not so fun position. These two have entered the 50-50 position, which is generally considered the worst position to watch in all of jiu-jitsu, but Katie makes a big flaw by putting her arm in the hole. That means she's putting it in between the legs of Daniel. Anytime you do that with your arm, you're asking to get armbarred. Danny capitalizes on this and he goes straight to an armbar. Katie does the Monteleone grip to defend it, but that's just a matter of time before Danny's able to break it. Once he is patient enough, he starts leaning towards her head so he can pull it free and gets the tap. Before any more cool situations come up, I want to get my question of the day out of the way. Where is everybody training? If you're in the US, I want to hear what state and what gym you're at. I always look forward to trying to visit other gyms in my future, so I'm really curious where everybody's training at. We get back in the round, and Danny is using a Z-guard and lapel control to keep Katie at distance. The Z-guard is a great way to keep opponents off of you, but you always run the risk of having your heel attacked. As long as you can be cognizant of where your feet are, you can use this guard safely. He attempts this sweep on Katie, which looks pretty nice, but Katie does a nice job keeping her base this time, and she's not going to go over that easily. Katie is really looking to pressure past Danny, and I wish she would go for a guillotine. Anytime somebody keeps trying to shove their head into your hip where you want to choke them, you may as well go for it. Danny doesn't hit the guillotine, however, and Katie starts to pass this guard. She moves right past his legs, and Danny tries to roll with this belt control he has, but she does a nice job re-establishing the side control position, and Danny tries to roll the other way and then turns to his turtle. Katie uses this moment, however, to start working towards Danny's back. She doesn't have a hook in, she has a knee placement inside the hip, which is still strong, but it's not an official hook. Danny does some standard back defense and he puts Katie's arm over her head. However, she counters this and she goes for a power half Nelson instead. I'm super proud of that move until she goes for the sloppy armbar and then Danny gets on top. And once Danny gets on top, he makes quick work of the side control position and he mounts her immediately. He takes this mount then into a knee mount position as Katie starts to buck. I wish he would have been a little bit more patient on that power half position, but it was a good transition from the both of them. If you've enjoyed this roll so far and you want to see other tactical battles between jiu-jitsu players, make sure to subscribe to my channel. We're just going to keep going up and creating more videos just like this. Katie is looking to try and take over this round, and she grabs Danny's sleeves and starts working towards the spider guard position. Danny does a good impression of doing nothing guard, and he just stands there until Katie hits him with a nice sweep. Katie again is looking for a footlock battle, which I don't necessarily recommend. I feel like you should try and stick to what you're good at, and Katie's never been known for her heel hooks. Danny, however, has been going for a lot of feet attacks. He uses this to transition to go on top of Katie and passes her guard as if it didn't even exist. Even though Katie got her guard pass like it was nothing, she does most of my recording for the videos, so I can't really be kicking her off the channel too quickly. Danny takes a mount on Katie and she starts to push up and tries to create some distance. Danny goes for an immediate knee mount. It's been a pretty fun round so far, but Danny's starting to ragdoll Katie a little bit. Once he gets to the side control position, he just keeps switching between top positions depending on how Katie's reacting. He goes from side control to north-south, side control and north-south, until Katie's able to get to her knees, and then he looks for a guillotine. He then quickly embarrasses me because it's nothing like my guillotine, but I'm still going to respect his attempt at trying to finish on her. I'm just a little sad because I know Danny's gone to a lot of my no-gi classes, and I show guillotine basically at every Saturday class, so he should have finished that on Katie. Nonetheless, I'm happy he got mount and they had a pretty good roll. If you appreciate the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.